Hi guys, it's been a few weeks since we posted our first video about the poorhouse. Now we can't get in there without permission, so we thought that we would show you the other part of the poorhouse. Poorhouses were established in 1824 when a law was passed in New York officially establishing and requiring poorhouses. We want to give you guys again the history of this poorhouse in Angelica, New York. This massive house held 70 inmates. Males and females were about equally divided, and at night they were separated. The average cost weekly for these poor souls was about $1.03. These paupers, as they were called at this time, are employed on the farm around the house to help earn their keep to stay at the house. A pauper is just another name for a poor person. There is no religious instruction, and the house is not supplied with Bibles. A physician did visit the house once a week and was employed with $80 a year. Can you imagine a doctor trying to take care of 70 patients once a week? It's nearly impossible. There was no provision to bathe, so you can only imagine what the inside of this house was like. During that year of 1824, there were 5 births and 8 deaths. Of these people, 4 were lunatics, 2 males and 2 females. All of these people were paupers. Now think about this. A lot of these people living at this poorhouse were families. Women and children were separated from the males at night. The people who were considered insane were generally confined with a ball and chain. They were separated by everyone and were not allowed any visitors. Their cells were the most filthy and horrid conditions you could imagine. These insane people would only sleep on straw and would release their bowels in their cell as well, and their cells were hardly cleaned. Now back then, many people didn't understand anything about mental health. For example, someone could have a simple mental disorder, which today we can help balance with medicine. If you acted out of the norm for any reason, you were considered insane. One insane person actually escaped one spring and was never found. It was assumed that he starved in the woods. They even called those that didn't even get a chance to be able to learn to read dumb. It's so sad, and we take small things like this for granted today. Many of these people who lived at the house were called idiots. This term back then was defined as a person whose mental development was arrested in infancy or childhood. Now at this time, there wasn't a keeper at the house, only an ordinary man who was hired to attend both men and women. When a superintendent actually stopped by, he asked if corporal punishment, which is physical punishment, was ever done. And the superintendent replied with, he took them by the collar and beat them with a rawhide. If you can imagine what this poorhouse might have been like at that time, and every county had one. There was no proper nourishment. Some of these people couldn't even take care of themselves. It was filthy, no ventilation, and just not enough staff. There was even rodents found in some of the beds. At the time, there was no tub, and in dry weather, the water simply was not sufficient. The older people and sick did not get the proper treatment they needed or deserved. The only fresh air that the people got was a small backyard to amuse themselves. This was not enough for as many people that were living there at the time. Now fast forward to 1923. There was a massive fire and was described as the most horrible event in the history of Allegheny County. 8 people were killed in the fire, and the entire house and everyone's belongings were gone. In 1924, the house was built as a fireproof structure, and this is the structure that stands today. The house is now unsafe and no one is allowed to enter. It is now privately owned by the Amish. Now we wanted to give you the backstory of this huge place with so much history to tell you about a place we were actually shown by the previous caretaker. He took us up to this place, which is just down the street from the poorhouse. This place is called Potter's Field. There are also a few graves that belong to Potter's Field in the Angelica Cemetery. Most of the original records of the burials at Potter's Field were lost in 1923 in the fire. We did find what was left on a local history website. These are the names that were recorded over the years when the poor souls passed. For the longest time, no one knew who they were. All they were known for was their number on a piece of stone. This is why we wanted to start doing these videos. They show you guys a part of history that you may never even have heard of. We do explore the history of a place, but because last time we explored this place at night, we got some pretty amazing EVPs. We wanted to play some for you guys and show that we believe the paranormal do exist. This first one, we are unsure of who it is or what it is, but it doesn't sound friendly. We think it is saying, walk away or die. At this time, we are all gathered together in one room, and that same night we also got a jar smashing, which we all heard, and then seen on the ground.
So you know we're not allowed to attach to any other. Oops, sorry. I'm a little dark. That's. Girl, do you think that is something?
We thought that we could try and make contact at Potter's Field since many of the inmates are buried here from the poorhouse. So in this EVP, you will hear Mike ask, "Are you buried beneath our feet?" This tells us we are speaking to intelligent spirits. Thank you all so much for listening and watching our videos. We will leave you with a slideshow of the poorhouse we put together. Thank you again for watching and stay tuned for our next documentary.
There is a house built out of stone, wooden floors, walls and window sills, tables and chairs warmed by all of the dust. This is a place where I don't feel this is a place where I feel at home. ashes were sold by the color of green. The ground had rose and past its knees. By the cracks of his skin I climbed